Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we're going to be talking Stranger Things 3, Chapter 2, Mallrats. And joining me today is pretty much the crew for Stranger Things. So whoever gets to unmute first gets to talk first, because rules of Episode Club.
I win. My name's Johnny B. Crazy, and I'll be musing about some monotone bullshit. I am very happy to be talking about Stranger Things. Season 2, Hopper finally gets his magnificent shirt that we'll get to talk about later throughout the season. Find me at Johnny B. Crazy and all that stuff. Go check out the Fandom 3 podcast. Should be linked in the description. I'll shut the hell up. I hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you for having me on, Sasa. Boom.
No problem, no problem.
Oh, what's good, folks? AK reporting live from the Upside Down. It is fire and brimstone this evening, and we're going to tell you why.
And I am Phantom D Saint here, your fellow Cersei lover, your Dustin defender, because hell, remember, Dustin did nothing wrong. And also the watcher on the Funko Pop will get ready to talk about season 3 of Stranger Things.
Dustin is the Antichrist.
Honey, what
Dustin
was
did
that?
everything wrong.
I rebuke you.
Well, you can leave it in the chat whether Dustin is the Antichrist or the angel of this world. And we'll tally the results later. But I guess we'll start the episode kind of where it starts and continue on with Billy. So Billy was pulled into the steelworks building and seemingly taken by whatever is the Mind Flayer 2.0, and he starts seeing things and feeling and having the heebie-jeebies. So and he sees that group of people who we will come to know later. So what do you think about Billy and his relationship with Karen Wheeler later on in this episode?
More like the Mind Layer. That blob has definitely violated Billy for the most part, and I'll let some people take over and I'll jump in so I don't say a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, on this rewatch to get ready for this stream, it seems like the Mind Flayer truly was planning like leagues ahead on like what his ultimate goal was, and it came about, I want to build. And at one point I was watching, I'm like, what do you mean by he wants to build? Does he want to create a new Upside Down or something, whatever? But even then, as the scene was going on, it's like Billy just went immediately to the phone booth, and I was like, why are you calling? Just keep running, man.
He's
to
got to
whatever
turn into
happens to
Superman.
you. He only went to the Upside Down. It's like an army of people just approaching him, and he's just standing there. I'm like, dude, what's up with you, man? Keep running. That was just nerve-wracking. I'm surprised he even began on that part in this episode. I thought they were just gonna skip over and then just have flashbacks or whatever. But so far within this season, there were certain points where I thought that they would drag certain plot lines, but they pretty much just kept it going and just finished it up within certain episodes. But I do give them applause for that.
Was a good pace. That's a good point.
Billy does not seem, excuse me, to possess spidey senses. He Phantom said, he gets out of the car that is fully functioning and tries to make a phone call. Just drive to the damn sheriff's station. A whole random mob of people are walking towards you in the dark, and you don't get back in the car and run them over if you have to escape. It just didn't make sense. For the type of person that Billy has shown himself to be, you would think he'd be a little more aware even in that situation, like the sense of survival should kick in. But no, not with this kid, apparently. It's not one of those horror movies where the car all of a sudden doesn't work or you fall over and you can't run. No, he ran out of that damn building, jumped right in the car, and it started up. Why abandon the car for a phone?
Well, maybe I have an answer for that. I would say, he's what Patty would refer to in Peanuts as a blockhead. But also, I think when we see later on that he's someone when he's actually afraid, which seems to take a lot, he freezes. and he doesn't really know what to do. We kind of see that throughout his memories. That would be my. I don't know if that's solid, but you know.
No, that's actually a good point, because I think the first time we actually saw that was with that argument he had with his dad when they were asking him where Max was. He was all, hardcore, still shitty ass teenager to stepmom, but as soon as his dad walked in, that shit flew right out the window. So yeah, good thought.
Sa.
Yeah, my thing is going all funny. With Billy, I feel like, yeah, what we're kind of saying is, why do the stereotypical horror movie thing of just running away, but then causing yourself to be caught by whatever's chasing you? I guess it was to show us that there was him resembled in that mob of people. So it's like growing bigger or whatever. The brain, I guess you could call it almost brainwashed Billy was thinking, or mob Billy was thinking, because we wouldn't have known like otherwise. We would have just maybe until later started to figure out what was going on with him. But now that there's like that mob of people, and surprisingly, all of those people, including the lifeguard, which happens a bit later, is in this mob and we don't know it yet. And along with, it's people that are involved with Billy's storyline and involved with Nancy and Jonathan's storyline that are in this mob kind of eventual blob thing, which I'm kind of surprised that they picked, but also at the same time, the other characters don't really interact with outside characters. So that sort of makes some sense that they did that. But yeah, Billy and just like, let me just call the phone. It's like, no, just keep driving. But I think that's when he wanted to try and call Karen, I think, was who he was trying to call, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so he's trying to.
Responsibility, honestly. He's supposed to meet up with her.
Did not think he ditched, maybe. Or ditched on purpose. What did you say, Johnny?
It was just, I'm sorry, baby. I got into an accident. Yeah, one of those things. He's got to secure the date, but little did he know.
Yeah. Little did he know she...
Side note, did anybody want him to actually slam Karen's head into a shelf like he did in his daydream? I was kind of
I
hoping
was
that
so
was real.
happy that wasn't real, because when it happened, I was
Yeah.
like, damn, I like the mom. So I gotta kill her off. And then it just like, oh, it was just pretty much he was like thinking of it, or the mind flayer told him to do it. But I think those were the instances where like Billy was at least fully taken over, or he still had some, hints of control, which I did like how they inserted that in.
Mm-hmm. But they were... Because at that point, it was like midday, and you could see that whatever was controlling Billy, kind of like the Mind Flayer 2, doesn't like the sunlight, so, or the heat like that. So that's why he was like kind of freaking out a little bit. What?
So he
Okay.
likes it cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen had on a bit too much makeup in this scene for me, but she didn't deserve the head slam. I'm very happy that did not happen.
Yeah. No.
That bathing suit was a crime, though.
They do pretty strong choice, like pretty good choices of fashion. Although I don't know the 80s fashion because I did not live then. For the representation on the show, they do a good job. So, hey, if I was in the 80s, I'd probably wear that bathing suit. So, but yeah, she wears a lot of makeup for the pool. Like, of course, it's to get male attention from the teenager or the almost 20-year-old Billy at this point.
It's the Bored Housewives of Hawkins.
Yeah.
Swimsuit edition.
Her husband ain't helping matters.
That should be like a spin-off show that someone should make, The Real Housewives of Hawkins.
Yeah, you know what? Everything that Karen said to Billy kind of solidified my thought on she is just in that marriage still because of her kids. That is it. Their dad is quite frankly, he's not hitting it right, man. She needs more, and he's not doing that. But she's not gonna leave her kids. So
You gotta
No.
give her a bunch of credit for that. You know, she gives up her desire for, almost gives into it, but gives it up for her family, basically sacrificing her emotions for that lump in the chair. Uh,
I think
not
also,
necessarily.
I think also we see more of her character play out and more of her thought processes later on in this season. So, especially when it comes to women and empowering people, when she has that conversation with Nancy later on, about basically not letting men control your life, even though she feels like she had that for her most of her life.
yeah, she pretty much dodged a bullet with Billy though. So I mean, it sucks that he got possessed, but it's probably the best thing for her.
Yeah, because I don't think they can have necessarily a parent be taken by the mind flayer as of yet.
Right. But something interesting if she did get knocked up by Billy. This plays out. She has to play it out as her husband's kid. We're getting into soap opera drama here. I don't know
About to
why.
say, well, this ain't no freaking telenovela Stranger Things edition.
No, it's not. It's the Bored Housewives of Hawkins.
Desperate Housewives of Hawkins. Yeah. But yeah, we get, and the last thing I think we see of not Steve, what am I saying? Billy is that he obviously, after he deals with Karen, he goes into the change room and he finds his first victim subconsciously or by his own volition, and it happens to be the lifeguard, which I don't think we get her name this episode. But yeah,
Not
so
that I can recall. I don't think we do.
Yeah, I
and
was always calling her the lifeguard that got taken. I think it's next episode we get her name.
yeah, because they go to his or her house next episode, and he said the creepy part was when Billy like obviously has her tied up and puts her down on the floor, and he's like, "Don't scream." So you're assuming the worst possible situation, but even worse, it's just she gets bitten, I guess, by the what will become the blob.
At least he shared his fertilizer with her.
I suppose if you want to look at it that way.
And yeah, because when I first watched this, I thought it was like, oh no, are they good? This I know this is Stranger Things, and I know this is like a teen show for Netflix or like a teenish show that is loved by adults for Netflix. But are they really gonna have like Billy become like a possessed rapist kind of character for this? And it's like, no, he's just gonna lead random people to be taken by the mind flayer type thing. You're just like, my gosh, it's like fuse, but at the same time, oh my god, really? And
You know what? I just thought about something. Billy is the first person that we see that gets possessed. Where the fuck did those other shadow figures come from?
it might have been what was yet to come. Maybe.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
You
It's
think?
pretty much just planning on like getting other people. So I'm guessing it's just like we were kind of like looking in the mind of the mind flayer, I guess.
Could there be trapped souls in the upside down?
Because I was confused when we actually even saw like one person approaching Billy, and all of a sudden it was like in the form of actually it was like a copycat or a mirror version of him. Like what? I was like, wait a minute, is it telling me there was like another Billy upside down or something? I forgot what's that sci-fi movie where there's like people below or something like that, and then they just come. I think no, wait, it's something similar to Us. I thought they were gonna do like the same thing with the Upside Down, where it's like, wait a minute, so there's like a copy of you in the Upside Down somewhere or something, but I don't know.
It's like that Huey Lewis video where they turn into the cartoon. He pulls himself into the cartoon from himself. Anyways, he's almost dressed the same, but I can't remember the name of the song, so I'm not helping anyone.
I mean, upside down copies of everybody would be not that far-fetched to think, though, because if everything's upside down, it's not that hard to believe it, but then it would complicate what happened to Barb and Will sort of in the last season, and there would be almost two versions of everybody. But if you're thinking the upside down is some sort of version of alternate reality, it's not, but on a similar timeline, it's not that hard to think that. So, but yeah, we get the lifeguard screaming at the end of the episode, or end of Billy's part. Anyway, and
Yeah, I guess I'll add a little
yeah, I was just thinking.
something Billy.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess they're going a little bit with the blob here, but I like how they're keeping the bad from us. What I don't like about this is we kind of already saw the monster in general in the previews beforehand, especially on Twitter, just everywhere. But I did like how they kept it away in the shadows, kind of obscure, and it's a representation of himself and what the Mind Flayer wants is him, right? How much he's going to take over, and all those souls. I still think there's something to that. People went to the upside down and not come back, I think, and there may be something odd with that'll play out in the next season, especially with having possibly Hopper coming out on the other end over there in Russia.
Do you think the Mind Flayer picked Billy specifically, or he just happened to be in the vicinity when he was reaching out?
I think he was in the vicinity, but he picked him. He could have waited on any number of other people to come by, but I think he picked him based on his mind state, his weakened state of mind. He doesn't have a lot of self-discipline, and that fear goes a long way. You can really use that. I feel like he used Will's fear, and I think the fear in Billy is what made the Mind Flayer stronger this season than he was when the damn portal was open, right? That's my opinion on it, though. Nothing to confirm that.
I'm curious, was there a point where Will saw Billy last season? Because the Mind Flayer does recall like events that happened in season 2. So if there was a point where he did like spot like Billy, then it could just be a point where he just like took a mental note.
If he did see him, it would have been off screen. I don't think they were ever in the same place.
It could have been, I guess. Weren't they all together at one? No, it was because I'm thinking of Max and everybody.
Yeah, Max and the boys stayed at Joyce's house.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, because that was when they had Will under like sedation, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had that scene at no, that's earlier, I think. But it could be, may not be necessarily Will, but it could be 11 because of 11 being like a almost a weird thing, which comes next episode.
What about this? Just kind of thought of this as too. Billy could see 11, or the Mind Flayer could see 11. What if the Mind Flayer through the upside down can already see this other world and see kind of what's going on? You know, especially when given a focus point, like it's all Mad Max. It's, you know, it's interacted with people that have definitely interacted with Billy. So I don't know, you know, that might be stretching it, but whatever.
No, I think they've already shown that. There's the final scene in last season was with him walking over to the upside down gym where the kids were. So I think he can definitely pierce through the veil. So that might have been it. Yeah.
Peter Griffin. Giggity.
Yeah, and the one thing too about Billy is that it's probably why they had the Duffer Brothers probably picked Billy was he was a character. He has a B in his name, which usually for this show is just an automatic pinpoint. It's like an automatic pinpoint that you have to just be like, all right, there you go. Whether it's B in your first name or in your last name, you get somehow taken to the upside down. And you couldn't have a character like Jonathan or Steve or Nancy or someone like that, or one of the adults really get taken to the upside down or be involved in this type of character. Plus, Billy didn't have such a big role in season 2. And if they were making the show only 4 or 5 seasons long, they want to at least grow his character a lot, then might as well give him this kind of storyline to kind of, because he's the Red Ranger or whatever. I haven't seen that version of Power Rangers yet, but I think it was to expedite his character a bit, because we get Max a lot this season too in this episode, so it might as well just have somebody that's associated but not like in our core group be.
Agree, Mackenzie. It's like use someone that we already know but didn't have that much time with, and if they're going to do like a redemption arc or something, or have like sympathy for this character since he was like the Billy in the previous season, just have Billy. So at this point, it's just possibly just plot convenient that he was going down that same place, so the Mind Flayer can just get him.
Yeah, and Bobby, it was Barb. Barb was I can never remember her last name, but it was Barb. That was the one who was taken to the upside down in the first season, because the actress had to go to Riverdale. I think that's what happened. That's what usually they choose. Like a couple of those actors who've had crossover shows. Like I think it was one of the guys that was on 13 Reasons Why or whatever. He either had to pick 13 Reasons Why or Riverdale, and he picked 13 Reasons Why, I believe.
He should have picked freaking Riverdale. I saw only one season of 13 Reasons Why, and I cannot bother with the second. I'm not even going to bother with the damn third. The show should have been canceled. It's not freaking Daredevil, not Jessica Jones, not Iron Fist, not Luke Cage, damn it. God, Disney.
It's the same fuck shit they did with Lexa, damn it. It was either The 100 or Fear the Walking Dead. Damn it, we needed the commander. She should have fucking stayed. I deserve better.
I don't get it with like half of these shows. I mean, but it's just so stupid that they did that. Plus, 13 Reasons Why, for all of its positivity, sometimes it evokes into the world, sometimes it's negativity, and it can be talked about later. But yeah, we get that whole thing with Billy, and we can see what happens next with the lifeguard, and it's next week's episode. That's just crazy. But we get the other big kind of not dramatic thing, and it's Hopper and Joyce. We'll just talk about something light for the moment. And Hopper is elated at the fact that Mike and 11 aren't seeing each other for the entire day, supposedly. And he comes, like, basically skipping into where Joyce works. at this fact, and she's like, "Did you tell them what I told you to say?" He's like, "I did. I paraphrased." And she's like, "Ah, dang it." And then he basically asks her on a date, a friendship date, and we all know what happens with that. So Hopper, Joyce, 11, Mike. We can talk about them at the mall in a bit, but the adults. We'll talk about Joyce and Hopper for a few minutes and their failed date.
I think Hopper was still absolutely justified in the way he handled Mike. Mike, you were being a dick and you were disrespecting that man in his house. You deserved to have the fear of Hopper put into you, you bastard. And it was funny, though, to see, Hopper getting his feelings along the way with the quote unquote not date that happened. But and I guess it was vital for the story. But my favorite part of that whole thing with Hopper was the smile he had on his face after 11 got off the phone with Mike, and then basically played his own theme song on the way into work. It was brilliant.
Yeah, almost like I did it. It was like almost like one of those weird dances that like someone would do when they got their way. But
Just like their dad would do.
Yeah, and Dad, it's like, I did it, like on some weird thing like that. But Hopper, so funny.
Well, you don't mess around with Jim, and then later he gets his coveted shirt that is mighty colorful for him that his deputy says. I think it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll be back in the mix in just a second. I had a little interruption. I apologize.
His Magnum PI cosplay was on point with that shirt. I gotta give him props. He's even got the mustache to match, man.
Yeah.
He's killing it. He's killing it, man.
I feel like now probably like if part of their merchandise might be just Hawaiian shirts. That's like that are like that
much
color.
wears that throughout like the rest of the season, right? At that point, so it could just been very well just be marketing. But damn, man, you don't go to Enzo's. You go to Enzo's, you cursed yourself. It's like if your name begins with a B, you're dead or get taken. Or if you decide to go, make a date at Enzo's, it ain't gonna happen.
Anybody think those tables and chairs were too fucking small? It was like for a kid's tea party.
They looked like they were crammed in there like freaking sardines. Yeah, that was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, like Hopper, he just looked, he was giant for the table. Like when he was crossed, when you see the thing where where he crosses his leg at the knee, it's just like, right, sit.
Yeah. And he's like, right in the middle of the damn packed huge ass room.
Yeah. And they are, there's with the smoking in the restaurant, and at when they agree to this date, there was stipulations of 7 o'clock, be home by 8:30, and Joyce will drive or bring herself there, and I don't know if he was going to bring her back. It's just, I think that whole thing is because they've been friends probably, since they've been teenagers, so basically forever. And like we come to find out later, like they don't want to express
like banging your brother,
unless you're Cersei Lannister.
Someone said Cersei now. Hold up.
I was about to say, do not invoke her name.
But the idea that they could conceivably go on this date, because Joyce, we know she's skeptical about this. She doesn't even want it to be even called a date. She doesn't even really want to go to dinner with Hopper on any sort of connotation that might happen to be, because she's still hung up on Bob, which I don't think they even ever had like that resolution with Bob. Like we never see, like, because we see them have the funeral for Barb, but they like never do anything with Bob. So it's like she never got
it. In fact, Bob and Barb are the same person. So
I'm gonna need you to not. We will not disrespect their memory in such a manner. How dare you?
Super Bob.
Super Bob.
That is just a special name. I think that, I mean, that's a good thing, right? That they don't go jumping back into love. You expect them to get back together, but it's not get back together. You expect Hopper to get there, but they both have their own emotional shit to get over, and real life is choppy like that. Some of these things are a little over exaggerated, but I know many of moms that would go crazy over the magnet issue. They would just get super OCD and try to figure out what the fuck is going on with that. So I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but have y'all touched on Hopper just being so excited? I know he was giving his little singing his song, but he talks about sharing his feelings. Feelings were shared successfully, that lying bastard. What did y'all think of that?
Well, it wasn't
How was
totally
that a lie?
lying. He was
That
being
wasn't
honest
a
about his
lie.
feelings.
Well, I mean, his feelings of rage toward Mike, that's about it. But he
Still
hasn't talked to
feelings.
11, really.
Still feelings. I mean, the key wasn't getting to 11, though. He said that. He said, the key was actually getting to Mike. And he was right in that situation.
Yeah. There wasn't much sharing of feelings. And hey, Mary Jane Skywalker, and everybody in the chat, from Peter Griffin, Bobby Callow, Danny McKay, thank you for joining us today.
Mary Jade Skywalker. Pew, 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 pew. Just got to do all these little finger guns. 'Cause, Danny loves that.
I think
Start charging Danny like 25 cents per finger gun or something.
PayPal. A PayPal. I think, like Hopper, he like says what happened, but like omits like half the story. With the whole thing with Joyce, and obviously, and like you said earlier, when because Hopper goes and meets with the mayor, and after that he gets the I never remember her name if she even has a name. The the lady at the front desk to go to JCPenney, I think it is, to buy him a shirt, buy him the Hawaiian shirt, and she's like, "Is this the right one?" It's like, "Ooh, yeah," because it's like, I guess it's to make him stand out, but also because just Hopper wearing like a blue button-down shirt or a white button-down shirt wouldn't be as impressive. You gotta have him in the teal and pink, Hawaiian shirt. Like, this is Hawkins, Indiana. No real large body of water besides a river anywhere. So let me wear a Hawaiian shirt in the summertime. But yeah, I got
So your Hawaiian shirt in the summertime. I think Hopper's the one that spread across the nation. You see how much PI affected the world. Tom Selleck does not get enough credit. Mustache for days. And no one has talked about these short shorts these dudes are wearing in this time in history. Let's see in Stranger Things right now because come on, man. Do you have no shame? Why do you have them thighs showing like that? Especially Mike. What the hell is going on with Mike? Mike, dude, your waist is not above your belly button, bro. Just letting him know.
Maybe it
Right.
was the
80s, man.
whole
I know. I just
day.
still got a rag on it.
Have you seen like old school NBA games?
Hey, I used to
What's the
wear stuff like
uniform?
that when I was a kid. I had a mullet too, so a nice hockey haircut. The Canadians would be proud.
yeah, hockey haircut. But the one thing, the last thing about Joyce that we didn't talk about, she goes to Mr. Clark's house and wants to build a magnetic field. And he calls it a Clark Byers magnetic field, but you'd think if it was going in alphabetical order, it'd be Byers Clark magnetic field. And she blows off her date with Hopper. Potentially her only chance to have like a nice time as an adult with Hopper. So that just pissed me off. And how did she find his home address? Did that happen in like the 80s? You got the
Yeah, everyone was in the phone book in the 80s.
And if you were
But
unlisted,
the kids
you were
knew where
big
he lived,
shit.
though.
man.
Yeah, I mean I don't know that I would say that Joyce blew them off. I think she just got distracted, same way that Hopper did for taking 11 out to trick or treating. But even with all that, she's still mom goals. She notices this one weird ass thing, and she sees the potential harm that could be there. She doesn't understand the science behind it, even though she's got all the books and she's studying. She's on her curiosity voyage, like Dustin. But she doesn't know how to make heads or tails of that, so she goes to the one guy that she knows would be able to, and she fully goes all in. I respect that. I do wish we would have seen Mr. Clark a little more, though. I really like his character.
Yeah, Mr. Clark is definitely a superhero. How he just stood there while he was opening up that damn garage with his hands on his arms on his hips. Just all he needed was a cape. I just have to say this really quick, Peter Griffin. Much respect. Feel your pain. Thank God we had spandex shorts to wear under our short grape smuggler shorts. So, oh, and Danny McKay had a mullet and a rat tail. The gods took my hair as payment for those crimes.
Oh no.
They're taking mine as well. Fandom is saying, what did you do to the hair gods? That's what I want to know.
I can't answer that.
Uh-oh.
Damn, unspeakable hair crime.
I mean, that sounds a little suspect there, man. What did you like utter one of the forbidden curses or something? What the hell?
As he says,
that thing got awkward and painful up in here. I know that.
it's like
It did. PTSD flashbacks. Moving on.
It's like I say nothing, I know nothing. Yeah, Mr. Clark, I think that's the only time, besides maybe one more time, we see him this entire season. I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Which is kind of sad because he's an awesome character. They've kind of really depleted Mr. Clark's character, I think.
Who the hell wants him and Murray to become best friends? Because I do. I think they come up with some shit right there. Murray's got the secret Area 51 plans.
I don't think that's the thing. I don't think Murray needs him. Murray has all that knowledge and extra. Also, he would be almost like a useless sidekick to Murray.
Been making them alien butt cheeks clap for years.
Yeah, we're not trying to go hunting no alien cheeks. No thanks.
This Area 51 meme needs to stop. It needs to stop.
Have
now.
you seen the Avengers Endgame battle sequence for that?
The 1 million cows.
It's my favorite. And then when Pepper and Tony are doing their little thing, they're Karens, and all they say is, "Where's your manager?" Oh, that was the best one. The memes were great, but that video was spectacular.
What's even funnier is the news thinks people are really going to storm it.
Yeah.
600,000 people are going to storm Area 51 September 20th.
You do gotta wonder. There were a lot of names on that damn petition. Like, I think some of them actually thought it was real.
They may have. I'm in that group.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I'd be the one sitting outside a few miles away with some binoculars and popcorn. That's it. I'm not doing that nonsense.
Yeah, I was like, I'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, but Mr. Clark, it's no surprise also that he paints miniatures. I know, like, I feel like as we get older with these kids, and if we see them, give them a time jump, or if not, that will maybe like Mr. Clark in that sense of just not being a complete recluse, but the fact of like doing things like that, like have a hobby, or like if it's considered a quirk, something like that.
I think it would be a quirk. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a recluse, because we saw he's had dates in previous seasons. He's definitely sociable. So I don't know that I'd say he's a recluse, but he does have his nerd hobbies and he goes all in on them. I respect that.
Yeah.
I would say it would be set up to be the actual bad guy next season, but with the move, I'll take that out. I would say that something's going to happen where he's going to flourish and come into his own, but it's going to be at a separation from his friends. And then there's going to be this time where they need to come together because they're going to be separated. And then there's going to be this, I think 11 will keep them in contact probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a very good friendship forming with Will and 11, definitely.
More, I know most of us have seen the ending, but it's like what happens with Hopper at the end. I feel like could really bring them all back together. But yeah, we've talked about that. Oh, the one thing that we forgot with Hopper is drunk Hopper. He just doesn't care anymore, and he's done waiting for Joyce. He gets out of the restaurant, and he takes the flagon of wine.
A flagon.
Of wine, basically, and he's like, I'm the chief of police. I can do whatever I want. And he bumps into Russian Terminator, like the Russian version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this was what brings in more of the Russian element. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, because he kept calling his waiter Enzo. And he's like, I'm not Enzo.
Like the Ferrari.
Yeah, Hopper did not have any fucks to give once that alcohol took hold. He drank too much shade of the evening, and it put him in a mood.
Yeah.
Doesn't help that he was dipping his cigarettes in PCP either, but tomato to each his own at this point. We're just lucky we didn't get a cut to Hopper running around the streets naked like Will Ferrell in Old School. We're stricken at the quad. Okay, but anyways.
Yeah, he's Hopper, he's gotten drunk because his potential lady love is off loading and investigating another issue that comes full circle.
McKay's got some real issues here in the chat. Like, I'm feeling the pain here.
Yeah. And Peter Griffin says, scary combination, an angry drunk with a badge. Ooh.
Oh, that's been proven 1,000 times over. Yes, indeed.
This is a scary combination. But we'll kind of go back to the kids, or the preteens / teenagers in this. And Mike has kind of says he's not seeing 11 today, and they go to the mall, and they consistently miss each other. Max and 11 have like a girls' day at the mall. They go try on shoes and all of this fun stuff, while Mike, with his $3, tries to go and buy 11 a gift. And they walk into a lingerie store, to a jeweler, to all these different places. The girls are having fun, and seemingly Hopper gives a steep allowance for 11 or something, because she bought a whole new outfit, I think.
Dude,
You didn't see this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, AK.
I didn't think about that until this last time I rewatched. I was like, wait a minute. How much allowance are Max and 11 getting? Like, they didn't just go on a mini shopping spree. They went and got the damn Glamour Shots photo shoot, too. That shit's not cheap.
They don't spend their money on candy and comics and whatever you could think of, D&D stuff, bro. Like, Max probably been saving up because she don't even go out anywhere.
Nah, they pawned
the
Hopper's
boys,
title.
they're always
Man.
going out.
What'd you say, Johnny?
They pawned Hopper's title. And now I would think you could just say that 11 can manipulate credit card machines or just swipe a credit card from somebody. I would say that much, but maybe Max did it. She seems the sneaky type that would do something to the dad that is the asshole. But I don't know. That is a very interesting thought. because Mike complained about he only had $3.60 and how hard it was to buy something. So they
How
had a little bit of money now.
Because the ice cream is $1.25 or 50 cents or a
And
dollar.
it's free if you do what Erica does.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like the ice cream's like $1, and then probably the shirt was at least $5. Or
Nah,
the shirt romper thing was at bare minimum.
I'd say about 20. I mean, things were cheaper in the 80s, but I would still designer stuff was still expensive from the mall.
Mm-hmm. Then they had their so they probably had to spend at least like $35-$40 at
At the very least.
Yeah, very least at the mall. And Mike's like, I can't spend any money, and they'll have to like they basically would have to beg stepdaddy Steve for ice cream at Scoops Ahoy.
See, and that's the question I have about Mike and Lucas. Mike is an idiot because he really could have handled talking to 11 better than he did. I don't know why Lucas thought consulting him first would have been any better, because he's not had that great a track record either. I very much enjoyed 11 and Max's friendship. 11 really needed to have that girl friendship. She really did. Again, Lucas is an idiot for co-signing to Mike's BS. Once they actually meet up, it makes both of them look even more ignorant. And poor Will is just along for the ride. My boy is just trying to live his best nerdy D&D life, and his friends are dicks.
Agree. He just wanted to play in D&D. He doesn't know the mysteries of, women, which it will never get solved. Don't even bother even giving it a challenge, guys. Like, come on. Even then, it's like we learned he got dumped like 5 times, and she keeps like going back out with them. Like, what is it? Like, come on now. Like, once I heard that, immediately I'm saying, you know what? I'm just gonna do my own thing. And just because next thing you know, he gets dumped by the end of the episode. She is cold as ice.
He deserved it. He deserved it.
Pause. Yes. And I did think it boils down to I forgot my thoughts here. But I think it boils down mostly to people in relationships having to basically, I don't know what the fuck I was gonna say, but they're more alike than different, and it's more just now I remember what I was gonna say. It's basically challenging people, not becoming boring. When people get bored in a relationship, that's usually when it goes downhill. Even argue. It's kind of something that keeps it even more spicy. It's not good relationship advice, but that's kind of how it is. I don't think it's that much that men and women are different. They are, but it's more so that just relationships in general are complicated. Even friendships.
You know what, Johnny? If it was freaking Max and Dustin, none of that would have went down.
Oh,
none of it.
Max and Dustin.
Yes, damn
Where
it.
the hell is this coming from? I mean, dude.
You're reading fan fiction now? Fandom
He would have treated her way better than Lucas. Just saying.
Well, I want to welcome Fake Aria. #/ Ravosi Broadcast. # Aaron. Welcome to the chat. So, in y'all's opinion, now what really bothered me was Lucas kept telling Will that he was doing nothing wrong, even though he lied. Now, also, later we see that this is kind of blamed on Max, that 11 spied on them, but this seemingly is 11's idea, right?
It was. Yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
Repeat the question. Sorry.
Yeah, no, just like 11's idea or whatever to spy on them. What do you think about the spying thing?
That I don't think that actually happens in this episode just yet. Or did I miss
No,
that?
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It's the next episode, I think that
happens. Yeah, it's the next. Yes, it is. Beginning of the next episode.
And then
No,
later,
because they
the
wouldn't
next
know what they were
episode,
doing after
It's
she pretty much broke up. So that's
because
like
Max,
beginning of next.
because Max, because 11 says friends don't lie, but Max says to her boyfriends lie. That's the first time they have like this
Yeah.
conversation.
they split it up. My bad. I thought
no.
they spot on in this episode. I swear I said maybe it just ran through when I was watching Netflix, but I thought it split it and they spot on Steve the next, not Steve, fucking Billy the next episode.
Yeah, because like the next episode is the case of the
Confused.
missing lifeguard.
Lifeguard, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like when they.
And that's
Got
when,
it.
yeah. Yeah, that's when 11 does the thing.
It's this problem when the shows just run all together.
Streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, that one problem when you watch them like 3 in a row. That's that one. Don't worry about it. It's
But
fine.
yes, I do like that relationship. She actually gets to be friends with another person that's not romantic. Whether it's a girl or a boy, there's just friendship, someone to talk to, someone to confide in. Because she's still learning about the world. She doesn't even speak properly yet, which
Right.
is,
I'm
know.
still curious about like what was their relationship during this whole time skip. Because it's like,
was a
was really Mike that possessive to the point that they just weren't like hanging out with freaking like Max
Well,
and 11?
I'm pretty sure that was the case because that's why Hopper was so upset because he was over there all the time being a little douche.
Yeah, and I also think too because she was on virtual house arrest, Dr. Owens, was it? Basically put her on. It's like, how long do I? Yeah, because that's the end of the second season. Was like, how long does she have to stay and lay low or whatever? And he's like, a year. So
But
that's
isn't
why.
this like the summer? So it should have been like at least from what, November to like June or July, or yeah, to like June. It's like still like several months where they could have been hanging out and like formed a relationship.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things that. But yeah, I think it's more or less that Mike was just very possessive of 11. Because we see that in the first episode, and they're like, when they go see Day of the Dead, they're like he doesn't bring 11 obviously because she can't be in public, but the fact of like they make fun of him that they are kind of separated, which is
Oh
weird.
yeah, you're right. Even when they were going to like see if Susie Q existed. Oh, I keep saying Susie Q. Susie. Where immediately like halfway through like, oh, we're going back, home because she has like quote unquote curfew, but in reality she doesn't. So yeah, it makes sense.
They're just going to make out like Dustin and not Dustin, Lucas and Mac said. And then there's just poor Will. Will just wants to go play D&D while these two have their relationship problems. Like, I mean, poor Will.
Poor Will. I really do feel bad for him.
What'd you say, Donnie?
No, I was just gonna say we've talked about him being a late bloomer, right? And he's lost at least a year of his childhood. It seems like he's been alone all summer, basically. Lucas has been doing his thing. As we've said, Mike and 11 have just been making out on her bed. She needs to wash the sheets, and not in that manner. Just kids are nasty anyway. They probably haven't taken a bath and, maybe two. They don't talk about that enough. Hygiene. And you can tell their room's gross. No, I'm just kidding. But it's they play on a good amount of realism here. I kind of like what they do. Even though it's uncomfortable, it's even uncomfortable for you to see them making out so much. That's how it's supposed to feel. And we're supposed to feel some sort of way, as they say. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but whatever. Pick up where I leave off.
You're making sense because the only person who was presumably single for like a month was Dustin, technically. If Dustin had stayed in Hawkins and didn't go to summer camp, he wouldn't have had Susie, the girlfriend. So maybe that's
his never-ending story,
So that's maybe the person that Will might have been able to hang out with because the other ones were in relationships. So No, but the thing is, they should be wanting to hang out with Will more because they just got him back. Since like they're like he's almost like a placeholder for friendship in a sense because they only care about him when he's like in crisis mode. The rest of the time they're just like, I got a girlfriend, I can't be friends with you right now, kind of thing. But that's like so crappy at the same time. They're just like. I just don't care because he just wants to play D&D, and
Lucas has been with Max. Now that I
Mhm.
think about it, he's been chasing Max around and then broke up like 14 times.
Could
Probably 6 times.
I know this happens. Sorry, I know this happens in the next episode. But Johnny, do you think why Will wants to hang out with all of them more often is because the potential of them moving away, because it's not expressed yet what Joyce wants to do. Because that
Whoa. I would say it's for the potential that he sees their childhood coming to an end. They're all growing up. Will's really missed out, and he just wants to kind of catch up on old times and pick up where they're left off. Basically, he's just got a blank spot for an entire year, and he doesn't realize how much everyone's changed. So he's getting this punched in the face by reality here. And it's pretty sad, but also, you never know. Will has been through so much shit. He is kind of a realist at a young age. So he could have been thinking about that. He knows that eventually everybody splits up. No one's friends forever. But even though he's hanging on to that idea. So I feel like he's struggling with his inner child. Yeah. And hopefully we'll get to see him flourish next season.
Yeah. And you'd also think because he probably have missed quite a bit of school, they all kind of have, that they should have at least had a summer school episode where it's like, oh, I missed like 5 weeks of school. Like, I know this was the 80s and they didn't care as much about that, but it's like you think that they'd have like a summer school almost episode. Peter Griffin back then turning your Underverse Inside Out cast as a new pair. Why did you make me read?
I didn't know you just read it out loud as soon as I put it up there. I just thought it was funny to be there for later, I didn't make you read anything. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Well, I didn't know because you usually put questions or something there, so I wasn't sure what that was.
You're like Anchorman, just whatever you put in front of you, you'll read.
Pretty much. But yeah, they get at the mall, and then they have the fight because Mike said that why he couldn't see 11 was because of Nana, and they had to go to the mall to buy something for Nana. Like, what does Nana need at the mall, Mike? Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, with your $3, what can you buy? 11, Nana, and yourself at the mall for $3.
Why did either of them think $3 what would be enough to get anything? Like, it was so ridiculous. He said, I wanted to get you something nice, but if stuff is expensive, it's really hard. And Lucas co-signing, like, yeah, really, really hard. We were trying. No, shut up, both of you.
I question the same thing. Or even if he has like $3.50, go to places where you know you can actually buy something with $3.50. And they went to like one store with that bear was cost like how much?
$300.
Like, come on.
I mean, well, that's because it was a piece of jewelry, though. It was gold. Gold isn't cheap, even back then.
Even if you want to buy the fake jewelry, it's not going to be $3.50, man.
No.
Could you even buy like some flowers with $3.50?
I don't think
depends on the flower.
A couple of them.
Pardon?
Like, you could have done that, man. Like, this is why he gets done 5 times. And what does he be buying?
Like you said, candy, comic book, video game.
I meant, what does like Lucas buy back to get like Max back in his favor? That's the real question.
That's what they should have done. They should have done like, oh, this is what I've bought Max when I was short on money or whatever.
Or he could have just thought logically and went and got a damn box of chocolates. You could have gotten that for
candy bar.
Or his
Something.
patented toot performance.
Buy her some damn Echoes. How about that? $350. Yeah, that's a good box of 8.
Yeah. What'd you say, Johnny?
Oh, well, his magical musical toot performances. It might be what wins her back. Instead of holding up a radio in front of her window, he just farts a tune.
Oh, gee.
Completely
Yeah, we're
lost.
just gonna move right along from this part of the conversation. Let's just
I
get
know.
going.
This is a smelly issue.
And basically 11, once they've finally crossed paths outside, she says, "I dump your ass" to Mike, and she goes home and they take the bus. So now Maleven, at least for I think that's their ship name, for the time being, is now broken up, and all of the everybody who ships them is very, very sad at this point. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like this was, I think, a question that I wrote down. I feel like Mike and 11 are going to be like the Ross and Rachel of this show. They're on and off all the time, hot and cold. Because I don't think we're going to have Jonathan and Nancy like that. We're not going to have really a Joyce Hopper type of thing like that. So I feel like 11 and Mike will be the hot cold kind of relationship. Do you agree? Do you think that's Max and Lucas? Or...
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility because when it comes to drama like that, it's the will they, won't they that is mostly appealing, not when they actually get to the final product. It's about the dance in getting there. So I agree. I think we could see something like that. I can't say that it'll be exactly like Ross and Rachel, but it is a good analogy.
Yeah, it's more of like the hot, cold. They'll try, like, there may be like one person thrown into the mix that like changes everything for like a season or like at
It's
least
more like Lucy and Ricky. You got some explaining to do. I don't know. That was a highly abusive relationship. If you look into it, I do not endorse that. So.
as you giggle. But yeah, I feel like it'll be one of those that they will be the one in this show that'll just be like always on and off, or they'll always like miss each other or something like that, moving forward, because that's kind of what they're doing. And then I think, yeah, we had Larry, and Larry just wants to have this massive 4th of July celebration. Not too much, but just Hopper just being intimidating. And I think the last ones we have to talk about is Nancy and Jonathan. And Nancy still being the lunch girl, where she brings everybody lunches.
Now,
But-
there's still another part connected to the mall.
Of the mall.
That's Dustin and Steve and Erica.
Oh, right, at the mall. So we get
The Rooskies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get Dustin showing up to the mall by himself. Poor Dustin, because all of his friends ditched him. And Dustin, is he here? Like, Robin's like, what? Like, who are you talking about? And then Steve running out from the back, Henderson! And like, everybody, including I bet the 4 of us, were like, yes, this friendship is back again.
That's a special relationship they have. That's what onlookers are saying. Like, Robin was like, how many children are you friends with? I thought that was hilarious.
That was a good line.
Yeah, Mama Steve, no doubt.
Yeah, I disagree about the kids ditching Dustin, though. I mean, Mike and 11, yeah, I'll give him that. But everybody else, did the damn Trail of Tears, walking 5,000 miles uphill to get to this damn spot for him to plant his antenna. And then the shit didn't work. So, yeah, they went home. No one ditched you, asshole. Your plan just was dumb in the middle of a hot-ass day.
Yeah, and it's like
I
this
can't
is just
believe you just equivocated that to the Trail of Tears. Holy shit.
That was a long ass hike uphill. I'm just saying.
well, yeah, and it's like Dustin. This is only the next day. You can just go and find them. It's not that hard, because it literally is the next day. It's like it's been less than 24 hours since that happened. It's okay.
Right. Steve he is a pleasure to watch sometimes. The scene with him coming out and seeing Dustin, the poor kid is so starved for attention that he gets extremely ecstatic when he opens the door and sees Dustin, and they have their little, bromance moment. It's cute and adorable, and I dig it. And Steve also in the mall proved again that he is pretty much shit at everything except being an awesome babysitter. Because when Eleven and Max come up to get their ice cream, he serves them, but then he's like, hold on, are you supposed to be here? Like, is it actually safe? He's still looking out. He knows that, well, as far as he knows, nothing extra is going on, but he still shows the concern that, I can't say he's an adult because he's still like high school age in the show, but he shows that extra caring, and those little nodes are cool. Still think he's a douche, but he does have cool moments.
Yeah, and it's strange to think that he's in real life and in real time he's the oldest of the teenagers. He's actually 27, AK. If you didn't know that.
No, I did not know he was 27.
Yeah,
Wow.
the actor is 27.
Yeah.
Of all the characters there, I would expect to be the oldest. I think the Red Power Ranger I would believe would be the oldest, but in reality, it's the actor who plays Steve.
Yeah, it's for the teenagers. It's the teenagers. It's Steve, then Jonathan, then Billy, then Nancy for the who's like oldest to youngest, or whatever, and then I want to say it's Max, Lucas, Dustin, Mike, Will, and then Millie, or 11. But yeah, it's just
Possibly.
Yeah, because I think Max is the oldest of the kids, I believe. But yeah, it's just that whole relationship that they have, and I feel like they really amped up Dustin and Steve's relationship because a lot of people loved it and adored it from last year.
Yeah, their chemistry is really, really good, and I liked it. I will say though, while we're thinking of the ice cream shop, I adore Erica's sass. But had that been me, she'd have been kicked out of my shop. No, you will not stand here and try 1,001 samples with your friends. No.
The customers are always right.
Fuck that. The customer is only mostly right.
Would that be like not loitering? Would that be loitering? It's like they're wasting time or whatever, but they're like also just not buying anything.
It would be enough to have security called on them. I don't think it'd be loitering, especially, but it would be bothersome. And clearly, they're just trying to get stuff for free. So yeah, that's grounds for you to be kicked out.
And it's Chrissy that's in the chat, and she says that Erica and Robin are her new favorite characters.
Well, the customer's always right until they're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't see that blindly at all. I've worked too many years in retail and in the service industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Erica, she's like, can I try the peppermint stick again? And Robin's like, no, go away.
Yeah, she was over that nonsense. She was so over it. I did adore her trolling of Steve and Dustin when she went in the back finally. Like, Steve, again, you're shit at doing jobs unless you're babysitting.
Yeah. And because at that same time,
Steve should become a den mother.
Yeah. Because I think I saw it must have been on Facebook, I think and it was Daddy Daycare, but it was like Steve and all of the kids were all of the kids from Stranger Things. It's actually kind of funny. Because at the same time that scene is happening, Dustin reveals that he had a secret Russian communication that he was able to intercept, which is the catalyst for Scoop Troop's mission this episode. And they were able to decode it, and it's like the silver cat feeds when the yellow and blue meet the west, and then there's something else that's involved in it.
Yeah, it was basically the damn Quaith speech.
Yeah, the Quaithian speech of Hawkins Indian. The silver cat. The week is long. The silver cat feeds when blue meets yellow in the west. That's what.
I mean, but you gotta just understand, this all leads back to the Indiana Flyer.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, the Indiana Flyer.
Damn little horsey. You know, Steve has ridden that himself, and that's one of his favorite rides. I digress, though. I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, it's a lot like Red Dawn. I think they did a remake of that. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's basically where the Russians invade the United States. They made it during the Cold War and shit. So this, in my opinion, kind of mimics of that. And also a little bit of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The mall scenes, you know, where they're having to work and shit. And I can't remember what's her name, but the girl having to work behind the counter with damn it, they already talked about her in a sec. What Dustin's girlfriend looks like.
Phoebe Cates.
According to Dustin.
Phoebe Cates.
Phoebe Cates and all that shit when they had to work in the like the hot dog fucking place. So I think that mimics that a little bit. They're going for that in this. Other than that, you know, I don't have a whole lot to say. Quaithian indeed, bravo to broadcast. Quaithian. Like that.
And
Also, I question why those kids were able to stay at the mall that late after hours. That's not normal. Even in the 80s, that's not normal.
with
Hippies
Steven.
were their parents.
This is Hawkins, AK. Nothing in this town
Yeah,
is
true
normal.
enough. Yeah, true enough. You're right.
Plus, it seems like there's no actual manager of Scoops Ahoy. So
Exactly. Like they are literally in there doing whatever the hell they want at any given time. How has no one caught on to this?
yeah, and I think that their outfits, the Robin and Steve's outfits, are the only clothes that they have this entire season, barring in mind a jacket. But that's about it. That's the only outfit that they have for the entire season, minus like a jacket and then maybe one outfit like in the final episode. It's like that's like they predominantly wear like one outfit the entire time.
Yeah, technically not an outfit. It's a uniform, so they probably have multiples.
Yeah. But the Indiana Flyer, they find out that the code is from somewhere in Hawkins, or in the mall. Peter Griffin, yeah, they do call themselves Scoops Troop. It's a thing later in the season. They call themselves Scoops Troop, along with Erica. But yeah, we have.
It'd be funny if Smokey the Hare, like a big money rabbit, instead of Smokey the Bear, came out and just was an integral part of the season. That would have been pretty awesome. But you know.
Yeah, it was a giant bunny instead of a giant blob monster.
Only you can stop cigarettes from preventing forest fires. Wait, what?
Smokey the Bear.
I don't think that's how that saying actually went. Just saying.
It did not go anything like that. Yes, you're correct, AK.
But I think the last thing we have to kind of mull over and talk about is Nancy and Jonathan. And you know these two, they want to go, or as told by the men at the newspaper, Nancy Drew and her photographer boyfriend go on a mission. They go to an old lady's house named Mrs. Driscoll. After Nancy says that she has to go to the female to the doctor because of her lady problems, and They
Because
find
she
it.
don't eat. She needs to eat some food, man. Is anybody else concerned for Nancy? I am.
She is like skinny.
Some folks really are just that skinny, like not on purpose.
I know. I got a couple of them in my family.
Same here. My brother, he'll just eat anything and just won't gain anything.
Yeah, I can't get past 150 pounds no matter how much I eat.
You lucky bastard.
Damn. I was once like that, but then I just got lazy and I just started hating going to the gym, especially
all
on
your
leg
weight's in your
day.
forehead too. You can't lose that.
Yes, that's a
He's like,
sacrifice.
fuck you.
Oh man. But yeah, she is kind of on the skinny side, and it's nice that these two get to spend more time together. And they go to Mrs. Driscoll's house where this old lady has seemingly has fertilizer that rats are been eating, and she catches one of them, and it explodes, and all of its guts go everywhere. But it's nice to see them going on missions again, and not like that they were just going to be stuck at Hawkins Post for much long, like for half the season. Like we had to move these characters and their relationship forward, and obviously having it tested with this sort of mission, because all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but it's more amplified that Jonathan wants to be the good boy and not want to step on anybody's toes, while Nancy's just like, no, we're going to do this now, and ask for forgiveness later. Do it and then ask for forgiveness later. And he's just like, oh, fine. What did you think about the old lady? Did you find her suspicious?
I found her creepy as shit. Go ahead.
I was happy when I saw the old lady because immediately I thought about you, Mackenzie, and I was like, finally, she got her elderly character in this damn show. Hopefully she doesn't die.
Yes, we finally remembered that. We finally have an old person in this show. Because that was the one thing they were missing. And what do? They make the old lady crazy.
Yeah, she wasn't crazy. But yeah, when this whole thing started off really with Nancy and Jonathan, I was kind of mad at Nancy because you just bust into the damn dark room. You can't expose negatives to light. Damn it. The man is trying to work. Okay? Respect his space just a little bit, please. I understand you want to go on this mission, but you could have knocked on the door first, at least. And then they get there and they go through and they do the thing. Had they waited 30 more seconds, they could have cracked the case open from their point of view, and maybe known that some extracurricular shit was going on ahead of time, and they could have planned their moves better after that. But no, Nancy being in a rush about stuff again impedes that. So yeah, I'm kind of shaking my fist at Nancy for this episode a little bit and her behavior. Also, dark basements are never a good thing, even when they're owned by a sweet old lady.
No doubt. Okay, I cannot agree with you more. I felt like her bosses were right in making fun of her. She can't fill up a cup of coffee. She busts into the dark room twice. The first time for a fucking sandwich. You know, is he gonna eat in the dark? So just don't take that in there. He'll have it out. Knock on the door. Tell him it's outside. And then she busts back, not even caring. She doesn't say I'm sorry, anything of that nature. So it just gets to where, what are you doing, Nancy? You can't just do whatever you want and expect people to approve of your job. You know, yes, they are dickheads, but she did nothing in this to kind of prove herself. She did have a good idea. The death of the small town or whatever, small business because of the mall. That's a good topic. He was an asshole. He'll probably use it later, but other than that, she was kind of just not that great.
Yeah.
Service announcement. If you want to attack Justin, go to his channel. Don't attack Mackenzie Nancy fans, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, the thing with Jonathan, I don't think he was trying to be a good boy, and you know, we'll see in later episodes he actually does talk about it, but he's just trying to keep his job. You know, he doesn't have a well-off family like Nancy does, so this job is very important for him, not just for making money, but to help him on his way to what he wants to do. And Nancy's taking that for granted. So that's why I think he has the attitude he has, and I think he's justified in that.
She's not being the best girlfriend, right? At this moment. Like, she's like, let me just go on my own whims. And AK, when you mentioned the knocking thing, it's like she learned that from her mom, because, you know, her mom never knocks at all. So that's why.
Facts. Absolutely.
She was literally listening to the conversation in the beginning of the episode. Like all parents.
You know, that's a mom thing though. I can't fault Karen for that. That's a mom thing. Especially when your child is that young.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the whole thing with the like, it's also her baby boy too, and you know,
Exactly.
People with their sons, they're like more or less more protective than they are of their daughter sometimes, especially with like Nancy. She's like, like, because we've seen in the last 2 seasons, she's just like, meh, when it comes to Nancy. Unless when Nancy needs a heart-to-heart, that's the only time Karen wants to talk to her.
Well, Nancy's the firstborn, right? So she'll get
She's the oldest, yeah.
the most attention. So this is kind of what a lot of parents would think sometimes. Not saying talking for every parent, but they were able to probably give her more attention than they're able to give the other kids, and they think her more prepared for the world and feel like they trust her enough to let her take care of herself in a sense, while they take care of the other kids. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. I absolutely agree with that. Like, Karen, I think, is one of the best parents in the show, honestly. She knows, you know, Nancy is mature. She can't handle some things, but when she senses something's wrong, she does absolutely jump in full mama bear. So I really like her character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Karen Wheeler, though, the one actually alert person, parent in the Wheeler household. Yeah, we meet with Jonathan and Nancy. We meet with Mrs. Driscoll, and she catches this rat that, and because we see where I think we see where the rat goes, because it goes into that blob situation, or it's parts of the rat after it explodes goes to the rat. And like you said, I think you said, AK, it's like if they had waited 30 more seconds, they would have been able to figure out something.
Just a few more seconds. Patience, Nancy.
Mm-hmm. It's like patience and yeah, you'll just be fine. But you know, they got to keep some suspension and make the peaceful old lady look fine. But she was so funny. She was like, I don't mind the company. You can just use my phone and rack up my phone bill. Because, you know, I'm not going to use the phone. Because she started calling like 5 different people. It's like the old lady, keep using my phone. Like, it's okay. It's like, what? Like, usually you ask for like 1 call, not like 5 or 10, however many Nancy had to make. To the other.
Grandma had retirement money. She wasn't worried about the bill. Like landline phones actually as a utility were probably one of the cheapest, especially back then. So it probably didn't affect our pockets that much. But you're right. You know, you literally are over at this woman's house. You're supposed to be talking to her about stuff, and you're making 1,001 phone calls.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing. And I think also too why, like, because I think I mentioned this last week. I don't know if you were in the chat or AK, but there was that the Jonathan and Nancy, that they're an actual couple in real life, so their like on-screen chemistry is not just for the thing; it's like a real life thing. So it's nice that they get to work together.
Yeah, they actually connect. Yeah, I do like their pairing on screen. It's like Dustin and Steve and Max and Eleven. They put people together that have really good chemistry on screen, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's cool that this show kind of gave them a real life relationship as well, even though they're not so very public about it. I think they are still together because I think it was
Jon Snow and Ygritte all over again.
yeah, Rose Leslie
Bro.
and Kington 2.0.
I got a
Although
bottle.
although there's people out there, mostly the Twitterverse, who fervently love to debate otherwise about that whole relationship. But that's a topic for another day. And I think that's it for this episode. I don't think
I do believe so.
anything important. So we've blabbered on for long enough. So what do you kind of think about this episode? Was it a good one or a second? Because with this show, they kind of like to bookend at least 2 episodes. Do you think so? For this one, I think it was a pretty good episode to kind of bookend the first 2 episodes, and your rating, all that fun stuff.
I'll go ahead and go if that's okay, and I'll make it short and sweet. I thought there was a lot of subtext in this episode. It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed everything that Hopper did this episode. And to AK's point, Max and 11 they kind of stole the show. Hopper right there up there with them. It was really good. You even got the professor, which everybody loves him, and the superhero entrance. You got Joyce doing her classic paranoia gig and going into basically Thelma from Scooby-Doo mode. I would give this one a solid 8.5 Hopper hula shirts. And, I really enjoy this. I saw something David Harbour did. It's on Netflix. It's a little spoof drama called Frankenstein's Monster Frankenstein. I'll be covering it on the Fandom 3 podcast, but it's basically about this fake story of him uncovering the past of his father who made a play about some bullshit. But the funniest thing I saw on there was, and I got to tell everybody this, it was a commercial for Chekhov's guns and ammo. You'll know you'll use it. Oh, I thought I was going to die. That's probably the funniest thing. It's pretty stupid. It's probably the funniest thing I've seen. The Nooner Show, check that out Friday. Probably start recording it. Got to talk to BBM about something about Legion here afterwards, so maybe I can convince him to do something for me that it's a little unconventional, but he'll love me for it. And just check out some stuff coming on the channel. I'll be having a lot more videos coming out soon. I'm kind of trying to get some things prioritized. I've been a little bit scatterbrained and running around like an idiot. So look for a little more organization. And maybe not as much stuff coming out all the time, but it's going to be more consistent than usual. So thank you, Sasa, for having me on. This is a pleasure to be on with AK and Phantom D. Birdflu. I mean, Phantom D. Saint. Fantastic. The one true David Adams has showed up. Doesn't matter if it's late, bro. We love you, my friend. And yeah, much love. I love you guys. Y'all check me out. Check out my friends. Other than that, let them speak for the rest of the time. Peace, love, and chicken grease.
Word up, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Kenzie. It's always a blast hanging and talking about Stranger Things. I gotta get a bunch of pictures and video clips together for the con so I can put a vid out about my experience there. I think we'll be linking up on Saturday at some point in time. Make sure you have your notifications set for Kenzie's alerts so you don't miss it. Besides that, I'll just be, around in the chats where you'll always find me. I would rate this episode 8.5 Joyce Byers' Curiosity Journeys. Yes, I think it was a good episode. They hit the ground running with this season, and it's going to continue for the rest of the episodes we talk about. So, yeah, that's it.
And I would rate this episode 8 out of 10. I'm dumping your ass. But yeah, it was a good episode. Like Johnny brought this up earlier. It's like, yeah, like one of my gripes with this season is just the trailer where they pretty much gave us the monster. And honestly, after this, I have to like look up the trailers for season 1 and 2 to see if they even like show the Demogorgon and the Mind Flare and stuff within the trailers in season 2. If they didn't, I'm curious why they even bothered to show it in this season's trailer, because they could have kept that a mystery. Because the moment we saw like the monster and thing, or just creeping in the shadows, I pretty much kind of like had an idea like what it already looked like, instead of that, fear of the unknown of like what's truly approaching them each and every time when this happens. And yeah, I believe that's pretty much about it. And also, again, like bro earlier, like the pacing is good. I was shocked because when they were like, listening to the whole like Russian message, like Steve was like, oh, I think I hear something in the background thing. And I thought they were just going to like drag it on for these like 2 more episodes or so. But literally by that end of that episode, they pretty much just tell us, oh yeah, this is how he pretty much was alluding to, I believe it was the carousel thing. So that was pretty good as well. But overall, good episode. Thanks for having me, Mackenzie. Glad to talk about Stranger Things with you, Johnny, and AK, and the people within the live chat. And if you want to find me, it's Fandom D Saint. Do several reactions to several TV shows like Stranger Things season 3, except for episode 1. I keep getting blocked, and I was like,
He
no,
does,
that's it. I don't feel like
yeah.
editing it out. But
My
yeah,
Little Ponies.
no, I do not. Stop it. Stop it. Destroying my street cred that I have left. Enough.
My Little Pony.
Real quick, OTDA has just informed us that LMR will be on with the Granite Person after we go off. So click that link he dropped in the chat and come join us. I'm sure some of us will be over there as well.
So LMR's in between a rock and a hard place right now. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, Jesus.
On that note,
for me, yeah, I liked this episode. It was cool to kind of leave us kind of where we left off from the last episode and continue on in its Stranger Things fashion. We've kind of they're able to pick up the pace more. We've been able to figure out what's going on, and it's not so hunky-dory with a bunch of the relationships this episode, but hey, we'll deal with it and we'll move forward with it. And yeah, I agree with that. And I feel like because they put what the monster looks like, it's anticlimactic when it comes full circle, when you actually see it. Again, like that's what Chrissy said last week. It's like, just don't watch the trailers, especially for Netflix stuff, because it ruins like all of the best parts. So
not only trailers, Funko even like spoiled it too. Like literally the day it dropped, they had the monster Funko Pop. I was like, what is this? So even if I didn't watch the trailer, Funko would have spoiled me. That and the Erica Funko Pop. If you look into it, I think I said in my reaction, I don't know if I cut it out. I was like, wait a minute. Literally, they have that C as a freaking Funko Pop. What's wrong with you?
Funko, you can't even hide out for like at least a week. Like, come on, after it drops, shame on you. Or as you say in German, shame dich. But my rating for this episode is 8.5. Billy brain bashes, but take backs at the same time.
Brain bashes, but take backs. Damn, that's a tongue twister.
And yes, like AK said, technically in 2 days from now will be basically my 1 year on YouTube. Even though I've been on YouTube for much longer, it'll be my 1 year consistently doing YouTube and live streams. So on Saturday, at some point, we will be doing like a live stream, kind of me selfishly doing that, but as well talking about just having sort of a party stream. We'll talk about kind of Thrones, all that fun stuff. So yeah, we'll go check that out. I'll put it on Twitter and on Facebook when it's specifically happening, just figuring out the specific time slot. But I'll also be on Johnny's channel. We have Cylon Johns coming back this week on Friday, Exodus Part 2. And yeah, we've got some fun stuff. So all of it's linked in the description. We should be recording our next podcast this week. So go over to the Facebook And comment about conventions, because that's what we're talking about.
What
this
do
week.
conventions mean to you? What do conventions mean to the fandom? Do you like conventions? Do you give a shit? Have you ever been? Just leave your thoughts over there. I think that's
Yeah, we gotta do that because we want as much inclusion from people and the listeners as much as possible, because hey, we dedicate an entire part of our conversation to that. So yeah, just go right up something about fandoms and conventions, because it's a fun time, and who knows, you'll be featured on the podcast. But yeah, that's, I think, all that I have. Also, of course, got a shout out to the patrons of the channel. My Patreon is linked in the description. So we have Bobby Catalano, who I think she had to leave early, but okay. Catherine Harding, Nancy T, Dark Mother, and Katrin C. Nancy T. She was the first person I met at Con of Thrones. I'll probably talk about this later. She was the first person I met at Con of Thrones and the last person I got to see at Con of Thrones. So, yes, we will talk about that on Saturday. But with that,
podcast. Can I read this?
yes.
I'd cut a bitch for eating my curry unless she gave me a cool blankie.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely shout out to the lady of the blankets, man. Nancy T is such an awesome person. I'm so glad to be able to meet her.
Yeah, and Mike T, the Iron Bank of Blankets, as Nancy T.
I love that. That's brilliant.
That's what she had on Mike's name tag. But shout out to the chat quickly who joined with us today. Mara Jade Starkwalker, Bravosi Broadcast, Peter Griffin, some people named Johnny B. Crazy, Fandom D. Saint, and Alicia Kingston. I don't know who they are. OTJ, Bobby Catalano, Peter Griffin, Lady Laura Dane Starfall, Danny McKay, Chrissy of Old Stones, and OTDA, the king and queen of the mods. Yeah, and I think that is it, unless I missed anybody. If
That's
not,
it. And a quick recipe from Bravosi Broadcast. No, I'm just kidding.
yes. But with that, yes, go over to Bravosi Broadcast for all of your fun recipe, A Song of Ice and Fire inspired recipes, including chocolate weirwoods. So, but yeah, with that, we'll see you all on Saturday at some point for a party stream. So be prepared, and bye everyone.